It is not easy. But this individual not only works with artists, but pushes these artists to the next level and stages. From management to promotion, she does a lot. And she's shaking and baking out here in New York. So if you don't know, you're going to find out today. And without any further ado, let's bring the person of the hour to the front and introduce him to everybody. This is Kia Bookings. Let's check this out. How you doing today?
Hey everybody, how you doing, Spud Brooklyn?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great on this Monday. It was a busy one, but when isn't it, right? When isn't it?
Yes.
So I got to look over a lot of the stuff that you were doing and you are involved in. The first question I had, like, what makes an individual like yourself get into the space that you are? Like, what makes you want to be into the management and production space?
Okay, well, first off, let me say I'm grateful to be on your platform. Thank you to SHU Studios, MJMG Presents, okay, and yourself, Spud. What made me want to get into this as a manager is I've always had a knack for talent and spotting talent from very young. So I had this gift from very early on. From like third grade, I was like listening to like all the old classics. I grew up in a musical, inclined family. So I grew up around the music. It was embedded in me. I was born for it. And my thing was when I was a kid, I would make little tickets on notebook paper and make auditions and make showcases. So I was already promoting and doing these strange things, trying to get some entertainment in the community going.
Wow.
And it caught on. It caught on. So that's why it's important to me to get the artists out there to showcase their talents. And as far as production, I love the production part of it because it shows a different level. It shows a capable level that they can actually, make their dreams come true. And it gives them a versatile, way of navigating through their creative space. So I like to be behind the scenes with it. I love when the artists are flourishing, and it just became my zone from very early. I can actually say that.
I see it, and I love how you deliver that. Like, it's very impactful to have an individual with not only the insight but the love, and I could see the love in the art that you do. Now, my question to that is, how did you break into like jump starting it? Like, it's not easy. There's a lot of people who try to get into this industry and manage and promote as well, and the game is not it's not I don't want to say it's rigged, but it's not a clean and easy slate. How do you get and crack the plate to get into the positions you are in now?
I think just being involved in a lot of major events, doing a lot of album release parties, major showcases in the tri-state area, doing marketing and promotions, and having an up-close and personal relationship with independent artists and major artists, and just being in the record pool labels and, just being in the energy, just being involved, it kind of gave me a level of confidence where I felt like, okay, this is my home, this is where I belong, and this is where I can put everything that I've dreamed of and everything that I believed that I had within me to work, so I let it work for me, if that makes sense. I just put out my energy, my love, and my passion, and I just came with a different perspective, like a unique twist on it, because I'm just myself. And I'm just going after what I felt that I could have. I wasn't limited as a kid. My mom would say, "Oh no, you're talented." They had me involved in like a performing arts school. I went to Julia Richmond for performing arts. So I've always been around the music, dance, poetry, singing, piano lessons. So I was introduced to these things very early on. So there was no doubt in my mind once I got the official chance to start it, I was going to put my all into it. You know what I mean? So when the chance came, it was just like second nature for me. Like, oh, this is where I belong. Let me show y'all what I could do.
How in this second chance and maneuvering through the industry, like the forever changing aspect of the business, how has that been either a plus or a negative into like the way you approach working with artists in this business? And if it was a hardship, what did you do to overcome that?
Okay, I can answer that question honestly. I look at my artists as people first. If I'm working with anybody, their craft and their creativity is always second, because you can work with an individual, they can be talented and they can have a nasty attitude. They can be talented and they can be someone that's not easy to work with and treats other people difficult. Other people find them difficult to work with. So what I do is I just bring me to the table. I bring me to the table and I try to find a common ground where I just let the artists be themselves as well as, work on the creative side and express themselves. And, I just sit back. I don't judge. I'm not really one of those managers, promoters that sit back and judge the artists because everybody has a way of expressing themselves. So art form and music is what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? When I hear these artists perform. So it's all about the expressions.
Is there as a promoter or a manager, there's artists on right now listening and probably could take this information into a retrospect, but is there ever a fine line of like, nah, I can't work with you, I can't do it, like, because artists sometimes don't really get the relationship, and if there is, like, what advice would you give to an artist like working with a promoter or manager?
Okay, so sometimes there is a pull and tug, and for me, my pet peeves are, lateness. I can't stand when an artist knows they're supposed to be at a show on time and they're not late from something that's not in their control. They're just late because they want to be late. They just want to hang out. They just choose not to put that first and use that as a priority. You know what I'm saying? But what I can say to the artists out here, when you're dealing with the manager, you're dealing with the team, have the respect, that they are in your corner. The people that are in your circle are there to guide you and help you. And if they're not, get rid of them. You know what I mean? You have to have some kind of common ground when it all leads to respect. So a lot of times the artists that I work with, they're very respectful, and if they're not, I'll check you.
You gotta check them sometime.
I don't got no problem saying, you might want to lower your tone because, it ain't that deep because I could go do something else. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? But, I never try to get it to that point, really. I just try to focus on them as a person and an individual who has something special. And we just try to work from there. So if you can't get along with your manager or your promoter, I just suggest you find somewhere else to go.
And as far as a manager and promoter, like, in your perspective, what makes a great manager and promoter? There's everybody posing. I don't even want to say posing, but there's a lot of people who wish to do the job, as well as posing. Whether it's manager, what makes a great manager and a promoter?
So what makes a good manager is someone who really truly understands why the artist started in the first place, get the background history, get to know, the artist as a person, and also get to know, why they have these influences, why they sing these songs, like really get into a conversation with the artist. Okay. That's what makes a good manager. So you know what you're dealing with. There's no speculation on, I don't really know about this person. You build a bond. That's what you're supposed to do as a manager. And you make sure that when you are in situations where your artists are performing or where people are interested in your artists, you make sure that you build a bond with those people as well. You fact check everything. You do your research, check the backgrounds, and you make sure that nothing is fraudulent. You don't want to put your artist in a situation that is not good for them. So you always should have your artist's best interests at heart. Okay. What also makes a good manager to me, for myself, is taking it serious. This is not a hobby for me. This is my lifestyle.
Hmm.
This is just as important to me as it is to that person going in the studio laying down them 16 bars. Okay. So you have to be even with it. You have to be on one accord. And as a promoter, what makes a good promoter is really getting the message out there, really getting that album out there, really grabbing that audience, really, focusing in on the demographic, like, whether they're young, old, in between, who likes to hear what, and go after that targeted crowd. Going into the community, I started out doing flyers. So hand to hand, talking to people in the community when you're promoting an event. Hey, how you guys doing? There's something going on tonight at Madison Square Garden. You need to be in there. Here you go. You have that personality, and it gets the people in the door. So being a good promoter is really about drawing the crowd, getting the energy, having a personality, really accepting the fact that it's up to you to get them doors open for the artists to come through.
That's a good hit, and the comments on Instagram said great stuff. There is a question, and I guess it pertains to what you said, and it says, how do you handle conflict with your artists if there's a difference in opinions?
I mean, I haven't really had the unfortunate journey of that. Each artist is an individual. I deal with each artist individually, if that makes sense, But if they have a conflict, they usually you get to the heart of the matter, And I've seen sometimes with artists, maybe not the artists that I've worked with. Shout out to Exile, NYC, and shout out to Flames Hood, 1017 Squad. Squad, you know what I'm saying? But I've seen where artists have been in position where they have conflicts, and you just have to remove them. You have to remove them away from each other. This is not going to be something that's going to be tolerated, especially in the studio settings. So I've witnessed, not my artists, but working with artists where they had conflict and they could not get along. So what you do is you schedule around the artist. That person can't be in the room with this person, whatever it is. And it's usually like a battle of who sounds better or whose song is hotter, something simple like that. And eventually they end up working it out. So it's never something that we are like having to really deal with, So I'm blessed to have my two artists that I actually manage. They don't have that conflict. I don't have those issues with them, but it's very important to make sure that the artists are focused on why you came in them doors and what you came to do. Okay. So conflict is not something that you as an artist should even be trying to really dabble in.
Yeah.
In my opinion, get to work.
and they even rephrased it. They even said, like, if you were managing an artist and had conflicts, how would you go about it? I would simply talk to my artists and find out what we can do to adjust the issue. Simple communication goes a long way, It's very important.
How can they feel comfortable? How can they feel comfortable? It's all about the artist feeling comfortable at the end of the day, because you're doing a job for the artist. You're working for the artist. Yes, you might have the skills. Yes, you might own your own business. Yes, you might deal with a lot of different people on major levels, but when it comes down to the artist, they also have the ability to fire your ass. So you have to be willing to be one-on-one and sit down and, go over some things and figure out, okay, how can we make this better? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but like I said, I haven't had to do that yet.
Fingers crossed. This weekend, I had the privilege to see Flames Hood perform at the K-Slave 5th Annual. I was there. I got to see him, and I will say I got to see him not only perform but handle situations that probably would have most artists in distress. I got to see that in action. That was super cool to see him. And I told him, like, yo, I wasn't trying to leave till I got to see you perform. I wanted to see him shake out, and he did. Now, working with your artists, we know we're in a time where social media promotion is a big thing. It's a very big thing. Artists make music, put it out, they make their clips. How, as a promoter and a manager, important is the actual performing presence, like actually performance? And how do you prepare artists for that?
Listen, that's very important because you can't have a song out there like with major energy, then get on the stage and stand still. And then
Yeah.
the crowd is upset because they paid their money to come through them doors to see you. You know what I mean? So you have to produce. You have to work at it. You have to practice, okay? Do your vocal lessons, whatever you have to do. Your main focus is how can I get this crowd to be down with me as an artist, okay? And what was your other question you had?
Just with social media being so easy for artists to promote their music and not have to like perform it, like record it, they put a clip. I was stressing like the importance of like actually being in your artist, and how do you prepare an artist that you're managing if they're not doing that?
Well, like I said, okay, I'm just gonna give my opinion because my artists are very equipped.
Active.
They're out here doing the damn thing, like I like to say. But in my opinion, I feel like it's whatever the artist wants to bring to the table. You have a lot of artists who are independent, and I'm loving these videos, where they're just in the neighborhood, they're just on the block, and they're promoting their music. It's all about their creative ways. You know what I'm saying? They can be in a corner store and then they're dropping like 16 bars. It's so dope. So I think that pushing that force towards social media is trendy, it's catchy because these are everyday people who are watching you and they can relate. So you as an artist are bringing across your message to the everyday, Joe, the average Joe. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Keisha
right.
Keisha and them on the block can relate. They're like, yeah, I understand and I want to get this album or I want to hear more of this person. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you build your key audience. I always feel like you don't give love in the hood and you don't get love in the hood. What's the point?
That's true. That's true. You gotta have a basis. You got to have a basis. I want to take a moment to congratulate you. I recently see your platform has reached 1.5, and you were celebrating that. Could we talk a little bit about your platform and what's the basis of it and what are you trying to get out to the people?
Sure. So thank you so much, everybody. I just want to quickly thank everybody for your love and support. And like I said, guys, this is for the culture. I do this for the culture. I'm repping for the culture of music and entertainment that I love so much. I recently got 1.5K views on my IG show reels. I'm super excited. I just got the news tonight about that. It's very important to me because I built this platform during the COVID, okay? When COVID first started and it became an outlet for the artists to stay connected to me. Now, the first artist, if I can mention some names, I might name drop a little bit, but it's very important because they're part of this history. I started off with a group called New Gang City. New Gang City became the first artist that I was promoting on that level as far as a duo. So shout out to New Gang Cito and C Most G's Up, who was also on DJ White Owl's mixtapes.
Okay.
So I was fortunate enough to be blessed with these artists. Shout out to T Chisel. So they would come on the platform and we would talk about their music and what they were working on. And they had like equipment so they could still do their music, but we were locked out of the studios at the time. So I took something small like that, a little thing like that, right, and built it into a larger scale. So me talking to them connected us. And I said, you know what? This is dope. I like the conversation we had. Let me keep going with this platform and bring on more artists during the COVID who are locked in and have, they want to express themselves. They have a lot of things going on. And I began tapping in with them and they agreed to come on and I just kept building. Now it's going from the artists to special industry DJs. I've had just about everybody on my platform, supporting it. And it just caught on and it became larger and larger. And now we're here in 2026. So I stayed consistent with it because it was important to me to create a platform that was smoke friendly, drink friendly, and just bring artists on in their element so they didn't have to feel uncomfortable. They can just be themselves. I wanted to capture them behind the scenes, who they really are. I've had artists on here who are mothers. Shout out to my female rap artists who are full-time moms, just having their babies come on here, holding the baby, rapping. So I did things outside the box, outside the normal realm, and it became popular. I've had people pull up, they're getting out their cars, whatever it was. I'm catching you in your moment. You could chop it up with me. Cool. Let's do it. It didn't matter. So you didn't have to put on a mask. I didn't want something where it was a facade, where it had to be a setup, where you had to, answer strategic questions. So I just caught a vibe with the guests that would come on. And then we would talk about the music, and some of them, I put them on the spot so they could perform their music, just to be heard and seen. So that was very important to me, because there's so much talent out here that gets overlooked. So my thing is, when I would go to the showcases, or if I was doing an event, or if I was invited somewhere, I would automatically spot that talent and say, hey, I want to bring you on my platform, give you a little exposure. And it just took off from there. Word gets out quickly.
Yeah, it does. Word travels.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So if any artists are out there, you want to pull up, if I'm overlooking anything, let me know. Because like I said, I'm going to tap into it all.
Now, you've been putting in the grind for some time doing that. Was there ever a moment, I know many artists have faced a moment like this, but was there ever a moment where you was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this? And if you did feel that, what pushed you over that hump to keep going?
There was never a moment for me where I felt like I didn't want to do this. I was in third grade when the kids were saying they wanted to be firemen, they wanted to be doctors and nurses. And my teacher in third grade, I'll never forget this. She said, what do you want to be? I said, I want to be the female Berry Gordy. She put me in the corner. I had to stand in the corner, and she said, you have to have a realistic goal in life. So it wasn't popular at that time for kids to have those big dreams. And at that time I was into Motown and, listening to all these different, amazing artists. I was a very old school, old soul type of child.
I dig it.
And I never would stop believing in myself. And I would never stop thinking that this is not where I belonged. You know what I mean? I kind of just was brought up with a sense of, this is it for me. This is what I'm going to do. Even though I've had other jobs, I've worked in elderly field care, you do different things throughout life. But when you have your passion, no one can take that passion away from you. So I was always building on, when I was going to get there. I was always building. Okay, I'm giving out these flyers, but one day I'm going to get in them doors. I'm going to be next to the artists. One day I'm going to show the company what I can do. So I said, give me a chance. Listen, give me next to them artists. You know what I'm saying? I deserve that platform. So I just had to show and prove.
And and that is the rewards of that are being noticed. Most definitely putting that work in. We had another question, and they mentioned that they saw you in flames hitting the pavement, announcing a show and selling tickets. And they say, would you consider yourself also part of like the street teams for your artists?
I actually would do street team before, building. Shout out when you speak of street team, but I just promote, I just put my skills where they're needed. So if I can get them tickets from Flames and say, hey, come out, my artist got a show, I'm going to push it. If I can do that for Exile NYC, hey, come out, I'm going to push it, because I also have that background. You see where I'm going with this? So I just wanted to say the first person that gave me street team experience and really catapulted my career up there was Ricky Batts. So shout out to Ricky Batts and Gotham City Boys, because he did not have to give me that chance. I had my little business cards when I was starting out, and I said, hey, I'm Kia Booking, I'm a promoter, and I was kind of nervous, because they were really big and doing all these big shows downtown. But I told myself, I'm gonna get them. I told myself I'm gonna go for it. I didn't hold myself back from thinking, my little business cards weren't worth the hill of beans. So and I went with the card. And he said, I'm going to call you. He said, I'm going to check you out and call you. When I got that phone call, he was gracious enough to let me promote for the Puerto Rican Day Parade. So I actually did his album promotions for the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And the next day, Ricky Bats, I was like, all of a sudden, someone else.
Yeah.
They were like, that's the woman that's reinventing, Ricky Bats. And I kept saying, he don't need no reinvention. It's just promotions on a higher level. You have the street team, and I've done a lot, of different street team promotions, album release parties for major artists. You know what I'm saying? I have to sit here and name drop. If you know, you know. But that kind of life was very fascinating for me. So I went from living a dream, that I thought was like so far away, to just getting like blown straight to it.
I respect that.
And
Now,
I'm grateful.
oh, we could tell. The energy radiates that. There's some questions in the chat, but I wanted to ask you directly from that experience of joining the street team, and what is that one thing that you've learned that you take with you from that moment on, has been with you every step of the way?
One thing I can learn from that is being a team player. One thing I can learn from that is supporting your team and the endeavors that they are building. It's very important to me to build with the correct people, to have the correct circle, to have the correct people that are supposed to be in your corner, because you hold each other up, okay? So I was blessed enough to learn a lot from Street Team, how, the word gets out. The word gets out there, and being a part of that, and then hearing the song on the radio, and you're a part of that. It's like, wow, we're the ones who just was walking up and down the street with the signs, y'all got to listen to this, album coming out soon and all that kind of good stuff. And then when you actually hear it on like Hot 97 or Power 105.1, it's like, wow, you had a little part in that history. So it was major for me. It was major.
You helped make that happen. On Instagram, they said they could see that, like, you put 100% of your passion on this work. Like,
we put 1,000%.
She said we put 1,000. She said she puts 1,000. It's most definitely seen. Now, if artists are interested in like working with you, are you taking in, or are you more of like, you want to see where they working and you approach them? How do you go about obtaining client work?
Mostly I zone in and I capture them. I land in on my prey. You know what I'm saying? I see the talent. I'm watching from afar. And if I think they got that special it factor and I need them to come over here and we could build, that's what I'm going to go after, Unfortunately, a lot of artists don't make the cut. Unfortunately, you got people out here pushing people to do things and they know that's not their lane. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I try to give everybody a chance. So for the artists that I might not be interested in, or I don't feel like, I could really do much with them, there's always promotions. There's always a way to help. There's always some kind of service that you can do. So I don't turn any artists away per se. You know what I mean? There's just different levels where I can assist, or I can put you on to someone else. But right now I'm comfortable with managing my 2 artists that I have.
Okay.
Because I have my show and I have a lot of different surprises and things that I'm working on and building. But for artists to work with me, as far as promotions, you can hit me up in the DM. And like I said, I offer various amount of services. I can connect you with people. I have an extensive network. You know what I mean? I try to help. where I can help. I fit in where I can get in. That's right.
I call it the puzzle piece theory. Wherever I fit, then we make it work. That's how we do it. Yeah. There's another question, and we're asking, how do you feel about promotion? Do you feel that promotion intertwines with marketing?
I mean, it definitely intertwines. You have to have a very precise marketing team. Like I said, for marketing, you have to know your demographics. You have to know the areas, sometimes the communities that you are catering to, that you are, bringing this music into. It doesn't even have to be music when you're doing marketing, any kind of form of entertainment per se, right? So that has to be number one. How are we going to go about getting the word out? There are billboards, there's hand-to-hand flyers, there's little business cards, there's advertisements. So marketing has to do a lot with advertisement, commercials, getting the word, spreading the word. Promotions, I think, is a little more on a personal level for me, because it's by spreading word of mouth, and you can be close to someone in your networking circle and let them know what's going on, and they can connect you to somebody else that'll tell somebody else what's going on. So you're getting a strong base. You building a foundation with these people, and now the word is beyond out there. It's solid. It's solid.
That's
So
right.
yeah, it goes together.
It's interesting that you mentioned word of mouth and the hand to hand and making it personal, because I just got an email in that I was just reading, and they were asking, how do you feel about AI, and would you work with an artist who works through AI?
Absolutely not. I like raw, authentic talent. AI, what that is. I don't care for it. I don't care for AI. It's not conducive to anything that I'm trying to do. I like to deal with people. I like real vocals. I like real energy. AI. I mean, God bless the people who will deal in that that lane. That's not my lane. I don't know.
I
It's a
respect
certain.
I respect it. I assume that they work with AI, and they were inquiring. So I wanted to get that question out, and I was curious, especially with the boom of AI. Now, tagging off of their question, do you feel that hinders even in the marketing aspect? I mean, we turn around and we almost everything has that feel. How do you feel about it being introduced like as a tool for marketing, compared to like the creation of a body of work?
I don't like it. I feel like it takes away from the substance. It takes away from that hard work and dedication that the human put in. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like to have that contact. I don't care for it. I feel like it's artificial. I don't want to deal in anything artificial. I mean, it might be good for some. It's just not my thing personally. I don't think it has a place in the marketing and promotions. I like to deal with real, authentic, raw, in your face talent. Like to put a face to the name. It is an actual person.
No, yeah, most definitely. Especially in this field of we working with people, you want to work with people. I completely get that. My man, face to face. Shout out to face to face. He was like, "Yo, where you from?" Now I know where you from, but he's saying, "Where you from?" Like he want to hear you rep where you from. Where you from?
Y'all want me to really, really get into it, you feel me?
That's right.
I'm from Harlem. I'm from Harlem world, born and raised. Harlem all day.
There you go. Face to face. He also said in today's music, how can a manager, I guess he meant to say guide an artist's hood appeal if they really on function online? I guess like how. In other words, I think I'm deciphering it. He was basically saying like, how would you help working with an artist's appeal if they really in the streets, like if they really active, but they got really great music? How would you work with an artist, breaking them into the appeal of an artist?
I mean, they're an artist to begin with. If you a damn artist, you an artist. Whether you in the streets or you behind bars or you free or your free will to make music, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really quite understand that question, but I just feel like people will be people. I don't really judge the artist, but I don't know an artist that's really in the streets like that and making music. They have to pick one. It has to be one or the other. If they're heavy in the streets like that and making music, I don't think that's going to be a survival tactic. I don't think that's cool.
I get it. I get it. It is hard. It is hard. I know a few. I know a few. But even you having that conflict.
What level though? Because I'm from Harlem. You get what I'm saying? I know people out there, they sell their little weed. Can I say that? I don't know.
No, you can. You could. Yeah. No. You can say
I'm
that.
saying they do that little thing. They might sell their little weed and stuff like that. What level are you talking about in the streets? You talking about Biggie level in the streets?
I'm talking even bigger than that, but that's a different conversation.
I mean, if you're gonna be like that, I don't think you should be into the music, or you should know how to, come separate the two. I guess I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how it really works.
It's really hard, especially depending on the artist's mind frame and
Yeah,
where they prioritize what they want to do. So
yeah.
it most definitely different. Um, if you could go back in time, like
Mm-hmm.
through all your journeys and everything that you've been through, and tell yourself anything, anything, what would you say? What would you say and why?
If I could go back on any of the journeys that I've been through and tell myself anything,
Tell your younger self anything. What would you say and why?
oh man, I'll say you made it. You made it because it wasn't an easy road for me because like I was always the awkward kid. Like they were playing rope and I was coming outside with albums. Hey, did you guys hear this? We don't care. Turn the rope. You know what I mean? I'm really at a point where looking back, like I know it wasn't in vain and I know that I answered to my calling and now it makes sense. It makes sense. So I would tell myself, job is well done.
Job well done. I respect that. I respect that. Face to face, even as when it comes to an artist, is there a way you can tell if their community is behind them or not before you invest in them? And does that even matter to you? If they have a base, if they have a fan base or anything, does that even matter to you? If it does,
No, no, it doesn't. It shouldn't matter because you have a lot of artists who are building and when they get around the right people, their talent will be seen by the right people and you just take it from there. But like I said, I was fortunate enough to already have established artists who have already been out here working, so when you're dealing with independent artists and you just see something special in them, it's about the work that they put in, you know what I mean? So I don't really look to see the views or who in the community loves them, likes them, stuff like that. I just look at what they bring to the table and how we can make this thing go.
I respect that because it goes back to the artistry rather than all the fluff around it. Like getting back to the core essence of the expression. What does that feel like and what can we do with it? And I think that's a lot missing, especially in the management space from a lot of
Yeah.
people and the industry as well. But that is missing, like going back to the core of it all in essence.
Hmm.
My next question is directly to you. Like
Yeah.
you've done so much. You've done so much amazing stuff. You're doing great stuff.
Thank you.
Like what's next? Like what's the next thing to take over and seize and find your way in? What's next for Kia Booking?
Listen, I don't put any limits on myself. Whatever God sees fit, but I know my journey is going to continue. And I know that I'm always somebody who wants more. I'm always looking to do bigger, better things I love. As far as building within this industry, look for more shows, more showcases, just taking over. I'm gonna just say it like that. I came for my rightful spot.
There we go. Well, I came, I saw, I conquered.
That's it.
I
That's it.
came, I saw, I conquered. I
No, there's
completely
no
get
other
it.
way to put it. No other way to put it.
I completely get it. Now, be like like a lot of my homies and my boys is in Harlem. I was in Harlem this weekend with a few good friends of mine. So I understand like the hustle, energy that Harlem always possessed. It's this certain aura that they always had.
Yeah.
It's in the land. It's in the land. Now in this business, I also know that it could be one sided to like a male dominated space. Have you ever faced that point where you like, what, I could shake out in this too, like, and you had to really like I don't want to say boss up, but like show what your worth is, and if it is, how did that affect you?
Well, let me tell you, when I started out, it's very male dominated. So I just went in there with a sense of self. I know who I am. Nobody's going to change that about me. I know I have these gifts. I know I have a certain skill. Nobody's going to change that about me. I'm not going to feel intimidated because there are men, I'm just going to do what I do best. And if they love it and it takes, okay. If not, I mean, it's whatever. But I know what I wanted to do. So I didn't face too much. I got a lot of respect when I came in the door, and I think it's all about the way you carry yourself too. And like, I didn't look at my male counterparts like competition, like I was competing with them. So I got a lot of brothers in the game, shout out to them. They know who they are. And people who were encouraging me along the way, as a woman, saying, you know what, you're going to break barriers. You're coming from Harlem, woman of color, you're going to break down a lot of doors, and, you're doing something different. You're doing something unique. You're doing something that is now, and something that urban, if I can say that, urban for the culture.
Yeah.
So it was just like they treated me like a little sister. A lot of them treated me like a little sister, and just seeing like, well, damn, what can't you do?
What can't you do? I respect that. I respect that big time. Ivan, shout out to my man Ivan. Ivan is pretty fast on the pen. He's hailing out of Russia, so we got Russia listening. And his question, which is a really dope, especially someone far away from the country. His question is, he said, I noticed when it comes to New York essence, the word culture comes up much. What does that mean? Shout out to Ivan on that. He wanted to know, when you say culture, what do you mean?
When I say I'm repping for the culture, when I'm saying I'm doing this for the culture, I'm talking about the music energy as a whole, the people who have come before us, okay? The hip hop energy that we grew up with and loved. The people who had the old classic music that your grandparents spend on their, what is that? Those old record players, that we loved. So all of it is just embodied into what I'm doing. So I'm repping means that I'm down for the music. I'm down for each form of music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, the culture. It's preservance, it's preserving something that they can't take away from us.
Oh, I don't know if we lost. I don't know if she got a call. Hold on, let's get some music on. I think she probably got a call. Shout out to everybody that's going on right now. If you're listening on the MJMG Presents app, that was Kia Booking, marketer, manager, promoter, talk about her travels of helping artists and some of the tips that artists can take while getting a management or working with management. And I want to send a big shout out to everybody that's here on Instagram right now. Shout out to Prophet, I see you face to face, MJMG, the ever so beautiful Even Muse, and shout out to everybody on TikTok as well. I'm not too sure if we're gonna okay, we got let me work this out real quick, y'all. Let me bear with me. We fixing some stuff backstage. All right. So we back. Are we back? All right, hold on. Let me get this right here. All right. Yeah, you got cut off mid. You got cut off mid flow. You was flowing, but I think the gist of it was most definitely hitting the people. So most definitely shouts to you on that.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. I guess we got another question from Face to Face. He said, I believe in the old program where in rap a person has to be representative of the community. He said, I missed that. I guess this is not a question. He was just adding. And he said, to get behind new artists now, you have to think corporate. Corporate doesn't care. And I guess that's what he was just adding to like what the culture is, like caring for the essence of it. So shout out to Face the Music on that.
Yeah, shout out to you, caring for the essence of the culture, preserving the culture, representing for the culture, speaking up for the culture, being a voice for the culture, presenting yourself in a way that you carry the culture on your back. You know what I'm saying? And this is my livelihood. This is not a hobby. That's another thing. You got a lot of people out here hobbying it. I call it hobbying it. They just jumping all over the place and they're not being instrumental to anything that's going on for the artist. So.
No, I completely get it. I like that hobby in it. Well, I do want to say one thing, right? We know we're in the era of everyone getting their flowers. That's a big thing. But here on MJMG Presents Shoe Radio, we don't give out flower. We give out honor because flower do die, but honor lasts forever. And I want to take this time to give you your honor for being an
Thank you.
individual that's so passionate to share it and see the greatness in artists. Going back to the core, and like we said, keeping not only the culture of the essence, but passing it on, adding to it is very important, and seeing that the future progresses in it. It's not an easy thing for a male or female, but in this industry, you have prevailed past many of the struggles, the hardships that many people fall victim to or do not pass to succumb to their victory. So we want to take this time to celebrate you in your honor for your journey, and not only your journey, but how you are helping continue the journey for many others. That is most definitely a powerful, powerful thing. I would like to ask you if you could just share like any words of advice or any words of encouragement, anything that represents like what you are and the passion of you into this industry, that someone may be able to take your words and be like, you know what, I'm gonna take that with me, I'm gonna hold that, and I'm gonna try to flourish in that as well.
You want me to give words of encouragement?
Anything you want to share to the people, I want to open up the floor to you. You can
Okay.
share anything to the people.
I just want y'all to know that I'm in it not only to win it, I'm in it to preserve it. I'm in it, I'm building a legacy. I'm in it for the long haul. Okay. I'm grateful that there are so many people out here that get it. You understand? And that are tapped in and know good talent, respect good energy. I just want you guys to know to keep rising, keep shining. Don't quit. That's the main thing. Don't quit. And on the days that you feel like you want to give up, look in the mirror and tell yourself you can do it. Okay? Because it's all about you. At the end of the day, you have to build yourself. You have to complete within yourself, and you have to go for what you know. Okay? So believe in yourself. That's all I want to say.
Let's give a round of applause to that. For those that are just jumping on or probably missed it, where could they reach you? How could they check your platform? Like, put everything you got going on blast. If there's any shows, anything going on, let the people know what's going on.
All right, guys. So I am Kia Booking. You can find me on Instagram Live. I do a show called Chat and Vibes where I bring people on, special guests. They are creative artists, indie artists, major artists, DJs, actors. It doesn't matter. Music and entertainment. That's what I do, right? I bring them on and I let them talk to the folks and let them know what they got going on. I play your music. I do showcases. I do events. You can tap in with me, DM me if you're looking for up and coming events to perform. You know, if you need me to host anything, hit me up in the DM. I'm selective though. I don't just be hosting everybody's everything.
Gotta be.
I'm very strict on my image. I must say that I'm very strict on my image because, like I say, repping for the culture is not an easy thing. So I have to make sure that everything is sufficient, okay, and pleasing, okay, to the individuals who are out here depending on me to bring it to them. Okay, but you guys can tap in with me. I do motivational speaking. I do different segments on my platform. So just look whenever I go live. Okay, I appreciate you guys, and we're at 1.5K views. So keep watching.
That's right. That's right. Congrats again on that. I want to thank you for sharing your gems and your energy. I know a lot of people it was a lot of engagement going on. So I know it was sparking a lot of questions as well as answers. So thank you again. And most definitely we'll be tapped in to check you out even further. And maybe in the future we could come on. You got something else going on and we could just chop it up some more.
I'm gonna have a lot going on, y'all. I'm always building.
That's right. That's right. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes on it. Keep your eyes on it. Again, I want to thank you again for coming on to the show. You have a blessed night.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate you. Thank you to you. Thank you to MJMG Presents. Thank you to SHU Studios. Prophet, I see you. Exile, I see you. Flames Hood, I see you. Flames Hood 1017, the new face of 1017 squad. I
There we
see
go.
you. A shout out to everybody in 1017, repping for the culture. It's your girl Tia Booking. And this has been a monumental, moment in my journey and in my career. Stay tuned, more to come. Thank you, Spud Brooklyn.
Thank
Peace.
you. Thank you. And you have a beautiful night.
You too.
All right.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Later.
Later.
Shout out to everybody that's on right now. That was Kia Booking. She was sharing promotion, marketing, and management. How she worked with artists, how she don't work with artists, and some of the in between. Shout out to everybody that was on right now. Before we go, I'm gonna give you the final word, and then we're gonna close the night out. But I do want to send a big shout out to everybody that hung out. Shout out to Prophet again, face to face. Shout out to the ever so beautiful Eva Muse and Lady Ms. I see you 12. So go shout out to everybody. Well, if you didn't get anything from tonight, get this. Sometimes we have to go back to the core. Sometimes we let the ideas of content, we let the ways of analytics, we let a lot of outside viewership dictate how we want to maneuver. And just like the culture has a pulse that's been beating before us. And sometimes when it gets past to us, we're not paying attention to that beat that's beating in it. And we want to create a whole new thing around it. And it disrupts the pulse as it goes down the line, where the essence of the true core of who you are and what you represent is no longer being represented. So sometimes just go back to the essence. Go back to what you really want to stand for. Go back to what you really want to produce and create. Forget all the outside interference. Forget about the marketing. Forget about the promotion. Get to what is it you want to do. And once you are comfortable in that place, once you know in that place, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it, then you start building everything around that, because the pulse is consistent and what truthful to you. So I want to send a shout out to everybody that's out there right now. Shout out to Kia Booking. She dropped a lot of good gems and everything. We're going to close the night. We started with one of her artists that she was promoting and managing, rather. And we're going to go into another one. This is Let Me Cook. Y'all have a good night. I see y'all next week. Tap in everywhere, every Monday, 9:30 p.m. And also check us out on Wednesday for the A&R desk. And shout out to everybody that checked us out on TikTok. I hope the sound was working good on TikTok. We was having a few difficulties with the sound, but hopefully we got that squared off. But anyway, check this out, y'all. This is Let Me Cook. Y'all have a good night. Be safe.
Where'd you find this?